So, are you guys working with the government?
No.
We're working with a government.
Not the government.
We're alive now.
We were self-taught. Hi, everybody.
Ryan, push the button.
Welcome to...
What's the plan, Stimpy? Take over the world, same as always.
Oh, it's, Pinky and the brain. Pinky and the brain. All right.
Oh, look who's showing up now. It's Ralph.
Oh,
Ralph.
Better late than never.
There goes the neighborhood.
Wow, guys.
All right, I'm going to log off now.
That's it.
We got the full Brady Bunch outline today.
Except for Ryan's taking up 2 spots. Ryan.
How are you taking up 2 spots?
Screen sharing and the camera.
Oh, yeah. No, so is this the limit? Are we capped it here?
Yeah, there is a
Might
cap
be.
for it.
10 people is the limit.
Well, that's so stupid. We need at least 100.
Yes, because we don't have issues with talking over each other as it is. Like, let's just get 100 people in here.
So wait, was there any news? Because I thought we just said nothing should happen for a whole week.
That would be nice if it did work out.
Like
that
I thought
way.
we specifically requested that. Did it? They didn't get the request.
Nobody listens to us.
Nothing interesting happened this week either.
That's a fact.
Nothing ever happens.
These show notes disagree.
Ooh.
Where I try to get to the show notes, it won't let me. I have to have like some.
You have to create a Notion account.
You have to show your hacker ID card.
Yeah, it's intense.
I'm out.
I have no idea how I got in then because I don't own one of those.
Well, did you put tick or 1 = 1 at the end of the URL?
Ah, that's it.
42.
You are the winner.
Apostrophe or 1 = 1 semicolon dash. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, you got it. Well, you got to add the comment in there.
Little Bobby tables.
It does help.
Someone said hello to the ransomware podcast. It's not.
Yeah, we should have like a running bet about how big the hit list is going to be, and if someone like whoever puts the number in there gets gifted like 3 schmeckles or what, I don't know what we can actually really get. How big is the ransomware hit list this week?
Yeah.
There was no ransomware.
Can we do a?
Yeah, I don't see any ransomware on the list actually.
No,
So 0 would have been the correct answer. I guess you get 3 schmeckles, Noah. Even though you had access to the show notes. Like it's kind of cheating, but
yeah.
Well, actually, there is a ransomware here. They shut down some
electronic warfare.
Yeah.
Yep, it's there.
we'll count it.
We'll count that.
A little light
That counts.
ransomware in the morning.
A little light reading, a little light extortion. You know how it goes.
May have.
Ralph, can you turn the gain back just a hair?
You want it more?
No, back.
No,
back.
too loud. You're overdriving.
You're hot, Ralph.
All right.
You're coming in hot.
Coming in, he's gonna do a flyby.
All right. Is that a little bit better?
It is.
It is, yeah.
All right, cool.
No, we can still hear you. Keep turning it down.
Shit.
Wow, dude.
God,
This
new
is
guy.
supposed to be an
Look at
accepting
the new
workplace,
guy.
even
Yeah,
for Florida
this is-
people.
Oh God, no. I feel like this is a hostile work environment, but I mean, I think
It
that's
does.
the news.
Does,
I
right?
don't know that I can be the new guy anymore, John. We've hired multiple people after me now.
Yeah, but I think we hired Ralph before you. So
Oh yeah, so I'm just slightly newer than you, and you're slightly older.
Is
Slightly.
statehood a protected class? Like, can we make fun of Ralph for being Floridian?
yes,
Yeah, that's
we
true.
should.
Okay.
I think that helps. But
Yeah, it's mostly the bath salts.
Unfortunately, the guy that's actually controlling the cameras and microphones is also from
Into
Florida.
bath salts.
So. Somebody's like, I was also in
Bath salts?
into
Who
bath
said that?
salts.
I think it was Ralph that said that.
It was me.
I remember I was in Virginia Beach and I saw this shirt. It was like bitches, bongs, and bath salts. This is a long time ago, and I'm like, I wonder, did he fall into some poison ivy? Why would you need? Why would he like bath salts? Is that a thing? And I had to like go back to the room and Google what bath salts were. So
That was before the whole face eating incident, real life zombies, and all that.
Yeah, before that happened, when it was cool, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the AD BC of Florida.
Yes. Sure.
After that incident, everyone kind of looked at Florida differently.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. It was
Nothing
the same as we always did. It's just more affirmation, right?
I was going to say more positively than before, but
So,
maybe.
So wait, the guy in Portland is throwing rocks at Florida?
listen, down here, all you have to do is choose between two rival gangs that shoot each other in downtown areas. In Florida, you can choose from a lot more than just two.
It's true.
It's a shooting gallery.
It's got a point. God's waiting room. All right, so are we ready to get going?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right, let's load it. Hello and welcome to another edition of Black Hills Information Security, talking about news. In this particular episode, we're going to be talking about ransomware. Again, because that's still a thing. We're also going to be talking about how Microsoft sat around, I guess, sometime earlier this year and thought, geez, if there was only an easier way to put malware in Excel spreadsheets. I got it, JavaScript. We'll be discussing that. We'll be talking about Apple OS X flaws. We'll be talking about trade with security firms like NSO Group and Pegasus, and if we can actually have, cybersecurity tools sold to China and things like that. So it's a really big show with a lot of things going on. I am joined this week by Ryan, the shootist, who always makes us look and sound good. Joined by Tim. I am joined by Noah and Ben. I am joined by, pop this back down. CJ's here this week as well. Corey is here and Ralph is here. So we've got an absolutely full house. And I'm going to let one of you guys, I'm going to say, pick a news story, please, that's not ransomware. Let's start off the show right. Anyone?
I thought this was taco about news.
Taco about news?
Is there not tacos?
It's raining tacos right out of the sky. I shouldn't sing when I'm on these things because YouTube will ban us for.
That's too good of it's too good singing DCM or DMCA.
Yeah, no, I'm not that good. But can we jump right into Microsoft bringing JavaScript into Excel?
I love JavaScript.
Yeah. Everything has JavaScript.
You're a hacker. That's why you love it.
And companies love Excel, so
it just seems like it's peanut butter and chocolate. And it's a really short article in TechCrunch, right? Where it's basically like Microsoft today announced that an update to Excel brings a new JavaScript API to the venerable spreadsheet app. With the new API, developers will be able to create custom data types, functions, and malware insertion methods within them. I added in that last part. That's kind of an editor's. Why the hell did they do this? And I guess they did this predominantly because Microsoft wants to move everything into the cloud, right?
I love that.
They want all their apps to be in the cloud. So to be able to integrate with Power BI and Power Query and then JavaScript because it's going to be running in the browser, this seems like a bad idea. Am I wrong or am I missing something here? Because this seems bad.
Who doesn't just use C script and W script all the time for real business cases and not malware, right? So
What
I
does it
mean,
use?
I've honestly only ever used it for malware. So, but it's JavaScript, right? You just double click that JavaScript file, you load your payload. I mean, you run your extremely important business thing, and then it makes sense. It is interesting when you think about staging for this, right? Can you stage this kind of stuff? I mean, obviously, we already know with VBA you can stage JavaScript payload or VBA payloads and download them and then run them, but it'll be interesting to see with the whole Power BI and all the other cloud integration stuff with JavaScript. Can you just add someone else to your spreadsheet and it'll just run if they open that spreadsheet, will it run that payload from there?
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say one of the reasons they went with the JavaScript is mainly for Microsoft Excel Online. And so this has been on the roadmap for a little while that they plan to put JavaScript in. So that way it would support basically macros via Office 365 Online. So in theory, yeah, if you open it up either on Office 365 Online or in your Excel document, it should run that JavaScript. However, there's a big difference between running JavaScript in the browser versus running JavaScript inside of your Excel document. Namely, your browser has a JVM sandbox. If usually it should.
Hopefully, most of the time.
Also, I just have to point out that TechCrunch obviously can't tell the difference between Microsoft Project and Excel because that is totally an at chart.
Yeah, for the
image stock fail.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And you would think that TechCrunch would know better than anybody else,
but they're really the same. It's still a spreadsheet, you know.
Yeah, I like Microsoft is already working with Bloomberg to help that company trial these custom data types, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of malicious attackers out there that want to help test some things too. So,
does Bloomberg have a red team? If so, they're about to be way ahead of the game.
They are absolutely.
So, in case anybody wants to play with it, it's called Script Lab. And you can go and like play around with what the JavaScript API inside of Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. So.
Oh no! So it's more than just Excel.
Oh yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep. You can share your favorite code snippets on GitHub Gist. I mean, this is amazing. Honestly, I think it's going to be a real boon to the people who use it, mainly us, and the 4 other customers who decide to somehow run JavaScript inside your Excel spreadsheet. I just think that it was like there was a bright idea, but the people who are like diehard Excel users don't do this at all.
Well, so I'm just kind of sad they didn't also change the name of Power BI again, because they've already changed it like 8 times, right? It was like Power Apps or Power Automate. Now it's apparently Power BI. They should have changed it again to something different, just to make it less confusing.
Power malware.
Potentially okay, so let's go get that GitHub URL real quick.
It's Powerware.
Let's register that now so that when we do our tool release, we'll have it.
Yeah.
That's set up and ready to go. All right.
Way.
Do we want to? Still don't want to talk. Somebody please pick a story that's not ransomware. I picked the first one. It's y'all's turn.
Oh.
Go ahead. Malware.
Anybody? All right. There's a booming underground market for bots that steal your 2-factor authentication codes. So this story comes from BHIS, and that there is a whole market out there for getting your 2-factor code and then selling it off, right? So kind of a broker service.
So what do they mean by the 2-factor code? They don't mean the actual number, but like, is it the seed value?
No, I think they mean the number.
The what?
Yeah, I think it is the number.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's basically like, I'm too lazy to call someone and ask for their code, so I will outsource it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
It's literally like red teaming, or I guess phishing or smishing as a service.
It convincingly and effortlessly helps hackers break into Coinbase, Amazon, and PayPal.
Yes, it has. Yeah, it has been definitely. We talked about it a little bit on the CoinSec podcast. It has been used on Coinbase very successfully to steal millions of dollars.
Oh, so that's kind of like a good housekeeping seal of approval, right?
So I guess what is kind of the takeaway to protect yourselves for these types of attacks?
Well, I think the normal stuff, right? Make sure that you don't give out your information willingly. Have a PIN on your mobile account or on your mobile phone so that you can't be SIM swapped easily. And then I think the other thing that's interesting about this one is the providers that provide the services that these attackers are using, like Twilio is one that we use and also real attackers use to do these kinds of robocalls and things like that to collect this stuff. They're actually also supposed to be cracking down on the
misuse.
The misuse. Yeah.
Here's a good recommendation: use a better password. They need your password for this 2-factor, scheme to work. Right?
Oh my
so this
God!
is the second step. It's not the first step.
This guy.
So that gets into the whole question of, whenever we bitch about PCI requiring 7-character passwords as a minimum, which
that low.
I do weekly actually with my family. They hate it, and one of the problems about that whole entire thing is everyone's like, well, if I got a 7-character password and I'm using 2FA, that's secure. I don't need to have a strong password, right?
That's wrong.
Well, yeah, especially when users just answer the call and say, "Here's my 2FA code." Don't worry if don't worry if any payment has been charged. We'll refund it within 24 hours. Crazy. Please provide your OTP.
Yeah, that's always like the phishing or like the scammers ploy, right? They say, "Hey, something bad has happened, but don't worry, nothing. We're not going to charge you. Like something bad, like something could happen to you if you don't do this, right? Like give us this code. We accidentally charged too much money. Something happened, but we can reverse this. We can fix the problem if you can just send us the code or whatever."
I like the little dig too. The bot is great for people who don't have social engineering skills.
Oh my God.
Said OTP God 777. So I guess take some training or just use the bot. Not great marketing. He's making fun of the people that he's trying to sell to. I guess CJ could help him with sales on that one.
That is a nasty thing for you to say, Corey.
Well, you already gave him the gold star of approval, which they're going to put on their site now. They're going to put Coinbase over 3 million verified.
Black Hills Information Security says 2 thumbs up, way up.
This is bad. So let's go to the next one.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the United States banning NSO Group. This one I think is interesting because we've been kind of tracking these stories and talking about them for quite a while. And if you know NSO, anytime something like shady happens, a country is monitoring its own citizens and violating their civil rights, it always seems like the NSO Group pops up in it. And they've been accused of enabling malicious surveillance of activists and journalists and all kinds of different groups around the world. So their name is definitely mud. But now the United States has basically just came right out and said bluntly, you're not allowed to do any work with NSO, so this makes me, there's a couple of things about this, right? The first thing that I think is interesting is NSO has responded and they said that they're dismayed by the decision. And then they kind of threw a little bit of shade because they said that the tools that the NSO Group creates, the United States is also using. So they kind of, these tools are being used by the United States to prevent terrorism and crime as well. And I do know that there are different government agencies, DOD, IC, and law enforcement that are using NSO's tools. And I just think it's interesting. It's like, no, it's cool. We can use these tools, but we don't want the bad people using these tools. And it kind of gets into the line of where are you ethically required to actually try to vet how your tools are going to be used or not be used. So just, I don't know, I wanted to get your thoughts before we dig too much into it. And we're going to get into the open source tools debate, folks. It's coming, so sit tight.
I mean, one thing I find interesting is just the
Go
fact
ahead.
that the fact that they literally say that the U.S. uses their tools. Like in almost any interview where anyone's ever asked, is so-and-so a customer? They say,
no comment.
Not our customers. We no comment. Like in the statement, they just straight up effectively almost dox and say, no, U.S. uses our tools.
The U.S. is a big entity. They've obfuscated it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
DJ's microphone is so bad right now.
Or CJ's a robot. Either or.
Both? So
I just think that's interesting because they're usually very much like, no, we're not going to talk about our customers.
If you're not up to date on the NSO stuff, the Darknet Diaries, a couple of recent episodes were very in depth and interesting about how they have kind of used different defenses over the, we can neither confirm nor deny who our clients are, but now the US is a client and they might not have, done their due diligence or whatever on that. But I guess we'll see how that progresses, right? I mean, the other question is, does the US, do they know that they're using this product, or is it like one of those subcontractor, different names kind of thing? Because that's what they do.
That's
isn't it?
what I
change their
think.
Name.
That's what I think happened. Because remember, this is coming from the Commerce Department, right? So from the Commerce Department, they're basically like, well, these guys are bad. We're not going to use it. And you can just see like the NSA, CRA, all these different groups. They probably were not part of that conversation with the United States Department of Commerce. I just can't see it as that communication was actually happening. And I'm almost willing to bet that this will be reversed fairly quickly as well.
You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall.
Want me on that wall.
That's all I could think about when you like talk about, you know, these groups that are selling to governments, right, all over the world for different kinds of surveillance. I mean, if it's not me, it's somebody else.
Oh no, absolutely.
That they specifically say like, oh, you can't use NSO group and not you can't use products that fall into that same category because there's multiple vendors in that space. NSO group just gets a lot of news attention right now. So they're not actually blocking it because of what it is how I interpret it. They're blocking it because the name has so much negative PR to it effectively.
They're like, we're fine with surveilling our citizens. That's not the concern. This is just too much bad press if we allow it into the states.
Right. Well, I mean, they're saying like you can't have NSO group software, but they're not saying you can't have private surveillance software. They're not saying you can't monitor civilians without letting them know. They're saying you can't have NSO group software.
What I'm wondering is NSO going to pull a Blackwater? If you remember, Blackwater's name was Mud. Everyone hated Blackwater, and then they rebranded. What did they rebrand as? I can't remember.
I was going to say Accenture, but that's just mean.
Accenture.
Yeah, how long before
that was Arthur Anderson,
OSN software comes online?
Yeah, so it's been renamed twice, a number of times now.
I don't think it's no company that I accidentally worked for.
Z. Blackwater
I think
becomes
it's
Z.
Academy.
There's Academy, but then they also have they were renamed Z as well. So then Academy in 2011.
I like that one too. It's like, is it just the element Xeon, or is it what? Like, what
yeah, exactly.
is it,
we don't really interact with anything. So, but you can just see the NSO group is gonna. If I was running the NSO group, I would literally spin off another division. Like you'd have the division of NSO that does stuff with the North Korea and Myanmar and all those places, and then you'd have the part that works with the good guys, and call them Angel Security or something like that. Or as Eric just said, they're going to rename them as Meta. That's a good play. We didn't talk about the Facebook Meta thing.
It's deep water on that name too. I guess they asked a couple companies. They're like, "Hey, we're thinking about rebranding to this." They're like, "Who are you?" And the lawyer's like, "We can't tell you who our client is." They're like, "We think you're Facebook." They're like, "We can't tell you who our client is." They're like, "All right." And then they just went ahead and did it, even though the other companies were like, "Hey, we want this much." They're like, "That's too much money." I don't know.
Well, I did like the video from the owner of Meta. Like, I guess they do computers. They do, I think it's gaming PCs. They said, in light of these recent trying times, we've decided to rename ourselves Facebook. If it's good enough for you, we'll rename to Facebook as well. And then I think they kicked out a logo on Twitter as well.
I was gonna say about the logo, where the logo was originally green and they like changed it to blue and like squished it together a little bit, and then like check out our new logo.
Yep.
So there are some interesting cases where, like, I think Burger King, there was a Burger King that existed before they called themselves Burger King. So there's a certain area, it's like a 50-mile radius where they can't operate because there's the original Burger King is there. So I just wonder if that's going to happen with Meta, where it's like they can't operate in like 50 miles of whatever this company's headquarters are.
Or like
people have to like get
Ghostbusters?
VPN services so that they can get out of that space and log into their Facebook account.
Yep.
Well,
or like
what's
Ghostbusters
funny is
versus real Ghostbusters. So something.
It wasn't just a case of like this company has the same name; they have the trademark, right? So it's a little bit more significant than just like, hey, I called myself Meta.
They've applied for the trademark. They haven't been.
Did they not actually have the trademark?
Last I read, which could be misinformation, they had applied. It's been in application status. It hasn't been fully granted, so they could do the copyright yet.
So now Facebook's going to come in, just be like, hey, no, we should get in front, right? Because
we have money. Here's money. Please give us priority in the queue.
But is that actually going to work? Is that going to work for them? Like, seriously, like whoever's working at the trademark office, they're going to be like, hey, we're Facebook. And they'll be like, I love you guys. Like,
I love you guys.
Facebook. This is how I get all of my misinformation.
Facebook is like the McDonald's of the internet. If you talk to anybody, they're all like, I hate Facebook. I never go there. But if you watch them and follow them around, they're on it all the goddamn time.
Their like, kids want to happy meal.
McDonald's is horrible food, and it's not good for you, and it's bad. There that afternoon. What are you doing? I'm having a McGriddle.
I heard it called, and this has probably been called this before, but I heard it called a boomer book, right? And I guess that Facebook knows that a lot of the, boomer generation are using Facebook, and that they're actively trying to get them to not use this, even at the detriment of them. I don't know. That's what's going on. So I don't know. Facebook is great. It's great, guys. It's great.
Facebook's lit, or whatever they would have to say to Mark.
Yeah. Hey guys, Facebook is totally radical.
Yeah, it's cool.
We're so radical, you don't even know what it is when we say meta. What does it mean? We don't know. You don't know. That's cool.
It scares me.
Don't you want your photos?
Yeah, that was kind of all I could think of when I heard that they were going to rebrand to Meta. It's like, you guys are just trying to impress the kids in all of this.
That's so meta.
Yeah, like you're just trying to impress young people, and it's like old people who are like, yeah, I know all about the interwebs. Here, let me show you something about
I had
Facebook.
A Virtual Boy. I had a Nintendo Virtual Boy. I know about the metaverse.
So the next one I want to talk about is, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. The United States House passes an act to help small and medium businesses with cybersecurity. I don't know how much.
Whoa, wait, go back. The United States House, you're telling me they passed something?
They did.
Burn from afar.
There you go. That's what
not proficiency tests or any kind of morality tests. They didn't pass those.
So one of the things they had is training programs for small businesses, specifically for like user awareness training and then just general cybersecurity training as well, to try to help out these small businesses somehow secure their environments. And I like the idea of it being associated with training. I don't know. I just wonder how many small businesses are sitting around thinking, my God, I wish we had some cybersecurity training that we could take. Because those people, once you cross that Rubicon, you're not the problem anymore, right? Like, I don't know like what the outreach of this is going to be. And it's just really light on the text. There's not a whole lot to it. But I think it's at least a step in the right direction, I suppose.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
The government's going to fund it, and that's going to fix it. I'm like, cyber trainings. We'll do cyber training. Small businesses, come to the news. There's training right.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
How much did that cost the U.S. taxpayer right there?
I don't know.
You'll change your tune when they come to you with the contract. They're like, all right, we've identified, we want it to be small businesses, affecting small businesses. And then they're like, can you train 300 million accounting workers how to not get hacked?
Yes, I can. One, change your password.
Yes.
we need you to put the federal standards.
Change it again.
Put the federal standards.
The federal standards.
We've worked with groups.
Congress arguing about password complexity, like how long should we make?
7
I don't know, those
characters.
guys at PCI, they really seem to have their crap together. I think we should stick with 7-character passwords.
7 is good.
Oh man,
I like 7. It's a lucky number. None of my passwords are that long.
I'm convinced that I pissed off PCI so bad that they're not going to change it. They're like, well, screw him. We're just not changing it. And
if we change it, we prove John Strand right, and that's unacceptable.
We can't have that a-hole be right about anything.
It's the principality.
My guess is PCI can't find this cast. That's my guess. Hey, I'm up for recertification.
PJ, we might need to advertise on the Facebook for them.
The face, John,
double burn.
Dude, it's meta. Come on.
This new media, it's so confusing. How does it work?
So, but getting back to the core issue, I don't think this is going anywhere, right? Like, I just can't. You see House bills all the time. There's a new hack back law that's being discussed, and the House passes all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. It's just what they do, right?
It's
and then
the
it goes
same
to the
stuff
Senate.
they struggle with.
It's the same stuff that they struggle with, right? And then it goes to the Senate and it dies because that's kind of what the Senate is supposed to do, I suppose. But this gets into a larger question. I have people all the time ask me, it's like, well, geez, you probably think the government really needs to get involved in this cybersecurity thing and help defend the country. I don't even know what the hell that would look like. And I am now comfortable. I'm well comfortable saying, one, I'm an expert in cybersecurity, and that takes years to get to that point where you're okay saying that and hopefully not sounding like a jackass. But seriously, like, if the government was going to come in and help fix any of this goddamn problem that we have in cybersecurity, like, I want to ask all of you, what the hell could they do? Like, are they going to force organizations to patch? Are they going to create mandatory, 21 character passwords? Are they going to push two-factor authentication? I mean, how do you solve the cybersecurity problem if you were in the government's position? Let's say you could get it through the House, you could get it through the Senate, you could get the president to sign off on it. What the hell would you do? Honestly, I think training is one of the best things that they could do because they're running it through Small Business Administration, which SBA does that training for businesses starting up, and that's very, very, very great. CJ we're talking about what government does right. We talk about this all the time. SBA is one of those things that has helped innumerable companies get started. I think this is about as good as they can do, but how in the hell could you, like, if you could wave a magic wand, what the hell would you do?
I would fund an organization. I would call it NIST, and I'd have them do something phenomenal.
So wait, I actually have a real.
Is that a bad idea?
I have a real thing that I think would be helpful, and that's a national sort of like process or like hotline or whatever for like, hey, we've been hacked. You know what I mean? Like right now, where does that
we have
go?
that?
Like,
we have that. It's the Mandiant 1-800 hotline. Like, goes right to Kevin Mandia. He pops out of bed, puts on his Batman costume. He goes down to his cave and he sends consultants for $450 an hour to fix the problem.
There you go.
I genuinely think a government run, like, I don't want to say incident response, but just a like thing that you can tell, so then at least the government knows what companies have been hacked and can like direct them to the, here's the Air Force. The Air Force can shut down the C2. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe. I mean, that might be. I can see how that could be abused. By the way,
I'm gonna point out CC Ambush. Hold company leadership accountable, like criminally responsible for crappy security. I'm gonna say it once. I've said it on compliance. When you sue people, when it hits their bottom line, that's when people start doing security right. When the legal risk from bad security is bigger than the risk of shuffling it off into the ether, that's when you have a change of a sea change.
And I agree with that. You can set it up. Working with carrots and working with sticks, right, is probably the best way to deal with it. I just, whenever you talk about companies calling up and saying that they've been compromised, my fear is, once again, as I started this, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. A lot of times you're going to get more punished for calling the government and saying you've been hacked than not, which is difficult. Calling in and saying we've been hacked by this particular IP address, I can see someone saying, yeah, we've just been compromised and it appears to be an ASN. The ASN number is 63293. We need to block everything to ASN number 63293.
What about the war on passwords? We did the war on drugs. What about the war on passwords?
The war
on we won the war on drugs.
I'm sure it'll be just as successful.
We're like, F it, pot, take it, guys. And that's all we ever wanted, really. I mean, so
we'll just end up
too much.
We'll just end up legalizing passwords is all that'll happen.
Don't do 7 characters. Yeah, it's a joke. Or, the DARE program. It's like, cool kids don't use 8-character passwords. At your next party, if someone offers to give them your OTP, don't do it.
Cool kids
friends don't let friends use Facebook.
We have a skateboarding dog. Could we have a skateboarding dog who has like sunglasses drive the program for the kids. Hey kids,
I use password managers.
I use a two-factor authentication solution.
Spuds.
I think we need to loop Jason into this conversation. It sounds like we got some great content.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
The government would definitely.
You know what? This should be good for the zine. There should be like, the security.
Or I was
like,
thinking
you
maybe
know,
a Black
dog
Hills
or something. I
information
don't know.
security cartoon that we could stream every Saturday morning for kids.
Yeah.
Is it like the
And
Muppets
select
with
adults.
Jason Blanchard is the...
Select all adults.
I keep telling people when they're like, back when I was actually doing pen testing, and they're like, "Oh, that must be the most exciting job in the world." I'm like, you want to come watch me? You can. And it's like, what did he do? Nothing. I'm Googling, going through and looking through source code on something. What the hell are you looking for? I don't know.
I'll tell you when I
This
find
is
it.
the most boring thing ever. And then whenever you condense like an entire 2-week engagement to like a 5-minute conversation, it's like, yeah, I found a bunch of hard-coded passwords that are on public GitHub repositories. And it's like, that sounds so exciting, but it was like hours of scrolling through garbage. Yeah, that's not going to be a great Saturday morning cartoon, I think. It'll be pretty bad.
It's propaganda. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to
Propaganda.
eyeballs.
It doesn't have to be good. It's only good propaganda. Remember, like Lenny Riefenstahl said, it's only good propaganda if that's the only thing people can watch. So, all right. So I like I said, I think that this is a fun kind of thought exercise whenever you're sitting around drinking with your friends and you're trying to figure out, okay, what can the government do for security? Seriously, sit down and have a conversation like, what the hell could the government do to secure anything other than completely black hole like Russia? That might work maybe a little bit, but it's a tough problem. So,
Hey, I've advocated that. What are we doing? Having
ransomware abuse resistance education, rare, that's back again. But I think we can all start by blocking the ASN number 63293.
Wait, again, John, my website's there. No, my website's there.
Now it's even more important that we block 63293. And we need to broadcast BGP routes out everywhere to black hole 63293.
Is that the Facebook BGP? Because they just took that down. They tried that.
They did that themselves, actually.
They did it themselves, but you know why it didn't work? They didn't have help.
It's bad when they had their own self-realization and had to block themselves from the internet. We're just too bad. We're not good for anyone.
It was a whistleblower all along.
They were threat hunting inside their network and saw some suspicious activity going to those servers. Said, "Oh, we should block that."
I didn't see the story on our official stories, but I'm going to have Ryan go through and try to find it. Did you guys read the article? I just saw it this morning where a ransomware gang was apologizing to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that was nice of them.
No, but that does sound very nice.
It is very nice of them. Let me see if I can find the article.
Is that like how they now have the list? The ransomware as a service people have like a denied clients list. Like, we won't do healthcare. It's like, I won't kill a kid, but that rule can be changed if the kid's a dick. It's like from that TV.
Right. Here we go.
We have standards, but they're very fluid.
We have standards. And the standards basically boil down to, we don't want to die. In the Vice article, hackers apologize to Arab royal families for leaking their data. So it says in October, the infamous ransomware gang known as Conti released thousands of files stolen from a UK jewelry store, Graph. Now the hackers would like the world to know that they regret their decision, perhaps in part because they released files belonging to very popular and powerful people. They basically had files that were released to David Beckham, Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, and also members of the royal family in the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. So they said, our team apologizes to His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman and any other members of the royal families whose names were mentioned in the publication for any inconvenience, the hacker said. So, CJ, this might be the answer to the previous thing. It said basically, the quote was, bluntly, UAE sends assassination teams to deal with people they don't like. even ransomware groups are subject to this political pressure.
I've
Maybe this
said-
is the solution.
I've said it before. A black helicopter with a repelling SEAL team is the answer to a lot of problems.
God, hold on, let me kill this. So,
That wasn't the Saudi government, was it?
Wasn't this the same group? This was the same ransomware group that had their op notes leaked, and they were like better than half of consulting firms.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is that group. And apparently
They're really
PR
professional.
firms-
These are the professional ransomware guys. If you're, you know.
It's just so nice that the world citizen, they can go F themselves. But the Saudi royal family, we are so sorry.
Oh yeah, very sorry. Please don't kill us. Oh
We like our heads.
yeah,
we like
But the rest of you, pay up.
yeah. Everyone else,
so-
it's all your fault.
You can just see the guys at the NSO group going, "We're getting some more contracts." Yes.
Yeah, really. They're
The
like,
growth
Pegasus
industry.
deployments are up 100%.
We have ransomware teams. Now we can go after journalists and ransomware teams. Oh my God, this is just so good. This is just the best thing ever. God, I was wondering how long this was going to take before something like this happened, because this crap happens a lot. Years ago, when I was doing the active defense cyber deception stuff, we had one bank out of Asia that contacted me, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to do a whole bunch of cyber deception and attribution and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Great! So, are you guys planning on like finding where these attackers are, and then working with Interpol to try to like go and arrest them?" And the conversation was just like really uncomfortably quiet. They were like, "No, we got people that take care of that." I'm like, "Oh shit." Okay, I'm gonna no bid this now because I don't want to be part of that.
You can just apologize and undo it all.
Even if I really don't like hackers, and I don't, it's like you don't want to read in the news like this particular hacker was found in little tiny boxes, gift wrapped and sent to his family, and go, "I was part of that. That was me." That's not. No, it's not.
You'd have to apologize. That would make it all better.
Maybe
Yeah, that would make it all better.
Maybe just a horse head.
Sorry about what happened to your son or daughter. I didn't think that. I feel bad about it though. No.
Not that
Only if they're
bad.
powerful and rich and famous.
Yes.
Only if they're powerful and rich and famous. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
protect
true.
them.
All right. Anybody else have a story they want to go over? One last one.
One more time.
One more time. Funny, I just see more, like this malware uses this technique. So, all right. Somebody had mentioned the $10 million bounty for DarkSide the State Department is putting out. Once again, a pretty effective strategy of trying to get cyber attackers that the United States government can do is just put bounties on their head. Whenever I read that article, Elle was here. Do you guys remember the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson? Where his son is basically abducted, and Mel Gibson has this scene where he's sitting at a table and is completely filled with money. And he's like, "This is the ransom that you guys requested, but none of you are going to get it because I'm going to hunt you down and kill you." That's kind of the way I read this, where basically, the United States is basically like, "Here's $10 million, DarkSide. This isn't for ransom. This is for people to turn you in." And I'm wondering, do you think that 10 million is enough? Or do you think that a lot of the friends are like, "No, we make that in a week. We're good."
No,
So
that's good money.
I was going to say, it's only for tips, right? It's not for like going out and compromising all their C2.
True. It's just tips.
Like it's not hack back. It's
In this situation, it's just the tip. So that's all.
when the government offers just the tip for 10 mil, I feel like you turn it down, but that's just me.
Oh man. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's an interesting. Yeah. Then it's time for the Z contractors or key Z contractors to hunt you down and find you. So maybe this is the bridge between the black helicopters and dealing with the.
I will say this could be the undoing of the hacker in their parents' basement, right? Because if you've been using your power bills really high, you never do the dishes. Like if that's you and you're in part of this ransomware group, you're in trouble because your parents are. I mean, it's $10 million.
Can you imagine the difficult dinner conversations honey, what are we going to do about Logan? You know he's caught up in this ransomware. The United States is offering $10 million for just the tip. She's like,
we could start
just the tip? In my experience, it's never just the tip. No, it's just the tip. That's what the State Department said. I love our son. I know. I love our son too, but I think it's time that we own up to the fact that we failed as parents. And
we also love $10
And
million.
cash out.
And I think that our penance for failing is to buy a boat.
Wait, how better to fund his rehab than with 10
Yeah.
million?
That's the way it would. We can spend at least $100,000 on his rehab, right? So
Plus, it's
better to
clean
do
money,
this.
unlike the money he's making. And
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have kids that are into hacking, it's better to take the $10 million than to deal with the Saudis and the NSA.
That's what we've learned today on Black Hills Information. Talking about this too.
And Darkseid will eventually accidentally hit the Saudis. It will happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. Okay, that's the way you do it, right? If you're the United States government, because we're trying to find solutions to this problem, the United States government hacks the Saudis, makes them believe that it's the various ransomware groups, and then
they
just
behead all of
tear
them.
each other apart. That's the way you do it.
Yeah.
That's you play the guitar on the MTV. That's the way. That's
Or alternate plan, just hire them to hack the Saudis.
there you go.
Yeah.
Alternate plan. Who's this IP address? I'm just letting you know that its ASN number is 6.
I mean, what's that saying? If the U.S. government wants you bad enough, they're going to get you, right? Like they don't have a stop. They don't have a budget limit or something like that. Like if you're on the list and you're high enough, you're done, right? It's just a matter of time.
Breaking, right? 10 mils, probably nothing, right?
Yeah,
I
for the
assume
US
El Chapo
government.
was at least 50 mil.
We dropping that on accident, just doing,
You can see the GAO, the General Accounting Office, doing this price breakdown. It's like, so how much does it cost if we actually go after these attackers? It's like, well, then we need to have the extradition treaties and we got to negotiate those treaties. And those treaties are costly. How many plane rides do we have to go back and forth? At least 20, 30. We got to do this. It's going to take us years. We got to pay for the hotel rooms. We got to do this.
CIA branch.
How much is it going to cost us to set up the legal framework? $1 billion. $1 billion? What if we just paid $10 million? Sold. That's just good.
So the lowest bidder today is the Citizen.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Wow.
Tragic.
Deep.
Tragic.
Oh my God. All right. Well, like I said, good to be back this week. Good start to the week, everybody. Want to say thanks for everyone hanging out. Ben showed up. Ben wasn't on when I initially was doing shout outs, but as always, I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us as we talk about the news and just rant. Yeah, this is literally what we do when we sit around and drink at conferences, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you all at a conference sometime real soon. So with that, Ryan, take us out.